Hello, everyone. This is Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish podcast, Walking with Our Shadow, where we share ancient indigenous teachings of remembrance, all so we can walk and learn how to walk a path of radical self-love. Hello, everyone. It's Marita, one who catches lightning, with the Path of Ish and Cuatro Manos y Cinco Volcanes forms. Today, what we are both here to bring into the circle is this whisper that I keep hearing, this image that I keep seeing. And so let us begin. As we begin today, let us take our 3 breaths to connect to all of our parts. And so make sure you can find a comfortable place, or wherever you are, even if you are in motion right now, can you find this moment to just pause and stop? So with that cue, let us feel into the rhythm of life as it comes in through our nose and into our lungs, into our body, into our system, and how it exits our body. This breath of life is breath as we breathe in, and it is life for other beings as we breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, creating that circular pattern. So breathe in, breathe out, connecting that circular pattern of breath in at one point, holding it at one point, letting it go at another point, letting it leave at another point, and then starting that circle of points as we connect them. And just imagine yourself at these points of this circle, connecting those dots. For those of you who sit in circleness, or who have a practice of the directions, you can include them now. Your east, your south, your west, your north. The 4 points: east, south, west, north. And continue on in that way until you feel connected. And once you are feeling into that rhythm of connection, let us take a focused, intentional breath, welcoming in our mind, breathing in and out. And see your mind walking into that circle of all of those 4 directions of this cycle of breath, welcoming it into this time, this place, this circle today. Second breath in and out through the nose, connecting those dots. Inviting your body into this time, in and out through the nose with your second focused breath, connecting those dots with your body, welcoming it into this time and space. And then this last breath, in and out through the nose, welcoming your essence as it connects to the east, the south, the west, and the north, and the rhythm that we have created here in this circle. And as we have connected the dots here, we are welcoming this topic of connecting the dots. Now, if you remember, there are dots and puzzles and ideas and stars that we connect. When I breathe into this memory, as a child, I remember looking at the stars and connecting those dots. And those dots were figures and shapes and myths and stories. I would sit there for hours and hours looking at the stars, listening to their stories, being told those stories by my father, my grandmothers, my grandfathers, Doña Mari. And that is my first memory of connecting dots. It wasn't just stars, it was memories and places and ways of being. It was family and stories and beginnings and ends. It was an opportunity to connect to me. Today, as we walk around the circle, connecting these dots, I invite you to always have those dots connect to you. And if you have to regroup, just go back to that imagery of our breathing and the circle that has been created to hold this conversation. Later, growing up, I found puzzles of connecting the dots. And there was a part of me that loved them, and there was a part of me that didn't. Because even though you could see the shape, the way so many people taught you to connect these dots were with a line. And I always found it odd to have these circles connected to lines, and then you would step back and your lion would be like a cubist lion from Picasso instead of that round shape. I missed the roundness. But yet I was always taught by Western teachers to draw the line and connect the dots. When I wanted to create circle between circle between circle. I'm not saying one way is better than the other, but as you can see, we have opportunities throughout our lives to connect the dots in different ways. And so many times we go mainstream. When I usually have a topic come in or a word to be defined, I take time to, of course, Google. And when I Googled today, connecting the dots, I got this Steve Jobs quote. And the quote is one I've never been connected to. Steve Jobs is quoted in Business Insider saying, "You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something. Your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever." It kind of comes back to those beginning puzzles of connecting of the dots. If you connect them looking forward, you will have an angular piece of art. You will connect them in a way that maybe is not as organic as it should be or you want to be in the moment. Many people do not live in societies that encourage them to not know, to be in that place of wisdom and wonder, to leave your knowledge at the door to redefine everything all the time, to relearn, to rediscover, and to sit back in observation through multiple points and times in your life and see how the dots connected. I taught one of my classes today, my Intro to Cacao, Maize, and Cosmology, and it's a 4-week intensive that I offer once or twice a year, depending when I'm told. And for me, there's no way that I cannot do that class without speaking of all of those things. For me, the dots are so interconnected in the storytelling, in the mythology, and at the core of cacao, that if I did not connect those dots, I would not be telling the story in circleness. And if I do not allow myself to speak and live in the circleness that I live, and try to explain that and teach about that way of life, then all I am doing is spouting out information and facts. And the invitation and the way of how to be, those steps, those dots would not be connected for all the people who sit in my circles. Sometimes it is the smallest things that we take for granted, that we have that bias that we think everyone knows or everyone should know. And today, as I sat in circleness with my mentors, who we meet before and afterwards, we paused to remember when they themselves connected the dots in a linear fashion, when they themselves didn't allow themselves to dream, to believe, when their vision was just looking forward, but not behind. And if I take this quote of Steve Jobs into this conversation for me, when I see them referring to connecting, looking backwards, it's not just on the life lived now, but it brings me back to the people who first taught me to connect the dots of stars and stories and who I was. And then I'm connected back to my memory and my way of being that always exists in the circle of new days and dawns breaking in the east, of the south, the place that warms and creates our bones and the fire inside of us, the west with creativity and sparks of lightning and the thunder people, the north, the place of the rattles and the bones and the seeds of my ancestors. My dots, my circles are circles within other circles, and this way of life is being in the past, in the present, and the future, not split, not divided, but in circleness. The other things that my teachers and ancestors taught me, because they taught me to observe and to connect. They taught me that vision, that habit of believing in the seen and on the unseen, They taught me that things are woven in time and that you cannot just take one moment and isolate it without the past, the present, and the future. I was taught to connect my life with my vision forward, with my dreams and hopes, and the seeds of my ancestors planted in my bones. And at that same time, honor and remember. My motion forward was not in a linear time of escaping things, but of a circular time of always bringing everything together. Do I do this perfectly every day? No. But it is more than just a habit I've developed. It is a way of life. It is a way of being that I have been for a very long time. And yes, it can be something that is taught, but to understand it, you must connect the dots and live it. And part of connecting the dots is seeing the beauty in the mundane, not thinking and putting yourself apart and separate, and thinking that this way of life is so hard and foreign that it's not possible. That a way of ceremony means you must stop everything and plan for days and have the right crystals and rocks and incense and do it all in the right way and have the right people, and then you never do it. Living in ceremony is living in relationship with yourself and all. You can come back to circle throughout your day. Just in that practice of breath that we did, connecting the directions, connecting our in and our out, our circular breathing, our breathing in circleness. That means that when we breathe that way, instead of just thinking of that breath inside of us, we're thinking of the breath as it leaves and as it gives life to others. Circle means we are not isolated and our experience is just us. Circle means connection. Connecting the dots is connecting the circles of our life. It can be as simple as breathing. It can be as simple as having your cup of coffee or tea in the morning, as we've talked about before, and connecting to that circleness. We are invited every day to connect to circle, to connect to ourselves, to connect to our breath that breathes and gives life for ourselves and others. We're invited to be in our moments. We're invited to live deeply in our moments. We're invited to move away from linear time and checking boxes and just come back home. To take a moment fully in where you are not the center of it, where the moment isn't a Kodak moment, but a moment of connecting to the environment around you, the song around you, the motion around you, whether you are living out in the country or in a metropolitan space. Life is always moving. Every moment, there are many contributing to that moment, that circle in time. So before we go into our meditation today, I just want you to check in with yourself and check in with how you string your information together. How do you connect the dots? What are the stories that you have inside that led to your as they say, aha moments of connecting dots. But that's amazing, right? We have aha moments when we connect to circleness, when we're not living so far ahead of ourselves, when we're allowing the past, the present, and the future to live together in circleness. Ah, ha. Feel that. Connect those dots, breathing in. Ah, ah. It's different, isn't it? Ah, ah. Try it the other way. Ah, ah. It's hard, isn't it? But how do we get there to those moments that we've talked about so many times in this journey? Those moments aren't when we blast away from ourselves, but when we come back to circleness, whether we like the information or not, whether the wisdom is there just for a moment, and then we continue to dig in and discover even more. So for today, for our meditation, I want you to think of your journey or a journey that you have had. So let us begin. Let's take our breaths again, in and out through the nose, our 3 breaths. Calling our mind, our body, and our essence, connecting those parts of ourself and welcoming them into circleness. In and out through the nose, connecting our mind into this time, into this place, into the circleness. In and out through the nose, connecting to our body and welcoming it into this time, this place, this circleness. In and out through the nose, connecting our essence into this time, into this place, into the circleness. Breathing in and breathing out. Before we go on this journey, I want to first connect to all the points in our body. Let's start with our toes, the points there in our toes. And just imagine your skeletal system, your ligaments, your nerves. They are all dots being connected, all circles being connected. We are literally dots that have been connected. And so let's start with our toes and move up our feet, connecting to the next circular point, to the next circular point, and onward and upward through all of your joints in your feet, your ankle, your knees, your hips, your cervical spine, all the points being connected in your rib cage, up through your neck, through your skeletal system, your clavicle, your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your hands. As you get into the head, your jaw, and then you can go down the body And if you know your nervous system, do your nervous system. Or you can do your circulatory system from your heart. And feel how you, my friend, are connected by these dots of life, of information flowing in, back, and around through your body, allowing you to breathe, to move, to have life. We are a puzzle that is connecting the dots. We are the embodiment of dots that are connected. And now, I want you, as you've connected to all of your dots in your body in this time and place, start connecting backwards to your memories, to how you got here to this podcast. How all the dots in your body connected and brought you here, how they move through time and space. And here you are. Now go through your day before that, and the day before that, and the day before that. All the way back to the first time you learned how to connect the dots. What did that look like, feel like? Go back to that and beyond that. For those of you who I can see working your way back in linear time through a line, I encourage you right now to bend that line and make it a circle, bringing it all back here, now. There you go. Now see how that feels. See how the wisdom and the memory of your bones feels. How this closed circuit feels. Everything beginning and ending and reflecting and connecting, sparking around and around and around, all coming back to your essence, your body, and your mind. And with that, knowing we can always come back to this practice because it's a circle, and knowing that we walk as dots connected. Let's slowly come back, and as we slowly do walking around that circle of breath and life, the east, the south, the west, and the north, the information coursing through our bodies as electrical current, as blood, as bone, creating that circular pattern, connecting those dots, bringing us back home, taking our 3 breaths in and out through the nose, thanking our essence for being in this time and space, in and out through the nose, connecting to our body and thanking it for being in this time and space, in and out through the nose, connecting our mind and thanking it for being in this time and space. Let's rub our hands together, closing this electrical circuit, connecting the dots, and putting that beautiful warmth on our heart and feeling that information go in with heat and return back its reflection upon itself. I hope today was an invitation for a deeper connection to your circleness, a deeper connection to your stories of beginning and ends, an opportunity to feel into how you are dots connected, walking in motion, living and reflecting this life outside of yourself and to yourself. With gratitude and thanks to all my teachers and all my ancestors who taught me how to connect the dots. Shade. I hope this week will be one of inspiration that allows you to connect dots that always bring you back home to yourself. I hope to see you in this circle next week, or in one of my cacao circles, or one of my jaguar tree circles very soon. Till that time, my friends, have fun connecting those dots, and make sure, if you don't want to draw a line, just know you are a circle within a circle within another circle. Once again, it is with deepest gratitude that I bow to you for joining me on this podcast, this episode, this circle, this plática, this meditation, this remembering. I hope that you have stayed curious. I hope to see you in the circle again next week. So make sure that you like or follow. Until then, may you be blessed with abundance of peace and radical self-love.